7 episodes ago, I talked about something related to goals that I think is important enough that we should revisit it now. Whether you're a self-taught musician, have a teacher, or you're already a professional, this show is meant to help you with knowledge, mindset, craft, and strategies to improve your overall musicianship so that you can become the best musician you can be, regardless of your goals. Welcome to Musicianship Mastery. Hello and welcome. My name is David Lane. It is great to be with you once again. This is episode number 132. This should be quite a short episode today. I just wanted to really follow up on the concept of goals that I was talking about on the episode that came out August 25th. What is your 5-year plan as a musician? So we talked about 5-year goals, and I really highly recommend that you listen to that episode. You can listen to it after this one or watch it on YouTube. It will be linked in the description for wherever you're finding this episode. Or if you're on YouTube, it'll be at the end of this video. You can just click directly on it. It'll be no problem to find. But we talked about 5-year goals, and in a way that you're setting a clear vision, and just kind of one reminder on that. I think it's super important that when you visualize any of your goals, whether you're talking about 5 years or any other time frame, that you visualize it in the present tense, that you have as many details as you can, and you imagine it as something that has already happened. That makes it more likely to happen. I'm not one of those people who uses the word manifest without a little bit of skepticism. And I usually run away from people who talk about anything related to goals while they use the word the universe. Like the universe wants you to succeed and so forth. I've abandoned books that have suggested such a thing. So I'm not going to argue with you if you hold to that. I would just say that I don't hold to that. I believe the universe is indifferent to your personal goals. But I believe that you have the power to do what you set out to do, and that you make that more likely when you have a full vision of what success looks like, and when you imagine it as a present reality than just something that you're hoping for. I think the book that I've recommended the most the past year for sure has been one from the 80s that I think is still very relevant. And it's been revised a couple of times by the author, but it's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. And it really emphasizes this idea of present tense thinking. You say that I am this type of person that you want to be, but you think of it as I am that person now. And eventually your subconscious will lead you to be aware of things that you're doing that are keeping you from doing that. So anyways, take that time, dream big, think of something that will take well more than a year. If you're not sure about whether or not it'll take 5 years, think about what it's going to take 3 or 4 years for sure. But what do you see yourself doing as a musician in 5 years? Okay, so what I want to talk today about is just, let's make that into a staircase of goals that lead to that. So at the top of the stairs is your 5-year goal. Now you could say below that is 4 and then 3. But let's next focus on your 1-year goal. What can you seek to accomplish in 1 year that is putting you 20% on the way to your 5-year goal? So if you had 5 big pieces, you want to learn 1 of them. If you had 10 big pieces, you want to learn 2 of them. If you're trying to get your scales at a certain performance standard, you need to be 20% of the way there from where you started. Okay, so the stair below that, that's getting closer to where you're starting from, is the 6-month goal. You could think of 6 months as 2 quarters, but it's half a year. And it is 10% towards your 5-year goal. So what do you expect to have accomplished, whether it's in technique or repertoire, or your goals in your career? What do you need to do in 6 months to say you're 10% there? And by the way, doesn't that sound less intimidating? To just say you just need to get 10% there, and you have half a year to do it. It takes a little bit of the edge off of any daunting sensation you might have when thinking about 5-year goals. So the step below that one, getting closer to where you're starting from, is the 3-month goal, or the 1 quarter goal. Again, I'm a big fan of quarterly planning, and I've done 2 episodes all about that. I'll put them in the description. I'll at least put the latest one in the description because it was called Revisited. So in the description, you'll find the episode 128. I think there's a good chance that I may have called it 125. It came out on August 25th, and it was 4 episodes ago, so it really wasn't that far away. It was just a month ago. But I will share that, and I will share the quarterly planning revisited episode in the description so that you can find that, to talk about the benefits of planning per quarter. This is an ideal way to come up with something that you can achieve is like a sub-step project of your 5-year plan. We are only talking 5%. What can you do that'll get you 5% closer to your 5-year goal? You'll know that you still have 95% to go, but think about what you can do that gets you that much closer. The step below that would be a 1-month goal. Now, I'm not even going to do the decimals on this. Actually, yes, I am. That is what calculators are for. So there's 60 months in a 5-year period. 1 divided by 60 is 0.016666. We'll round up. Slightly less than 2%. In 1 month, you're trying to get slightly less than 2% toward your next goal. So at this point, you're really on the quarterly goal. You're like, what can I do to get 1/3 of the way done with the quarterly goal? All right, so if you're at the bottom and you're looking up at that 5-year goal, the second step that you'll be looking at, it's right below the 1-month goal. It's right above the first step, and it's called the 1-week goal. What are you going to do this week to get you closer? I'm not even going to give you the math anymore. You know it's a very small percentage, but it's tangible. It's real to get you toward that 1-month goal, which will get you toward the 1 quarter goal or the 3-month goal, get you toward the half-year goal, the 1-year goal, and eventually that adds up to 2, 3, 4, and then your 5-year goals being achieved just as you visualized it. So what is the first step? The first step is today, not tomorrow, today. What are you going to do today that will put you closer to your goal? 5 years has, counting, if you have 1 leap year in there, it's 1,826. If you have 2 leap years, it's 1,827. We'll go with 1,826. That is 0.05%. Doesn't sound like you're accomplishing much, but do you really want that to go by without doing something today? Because that will add up. So think about what you can practice today. If you're a composer, what can you write today that'll put you closer to your 5-year vision of yourself? So that's going to wrap up today's episode. I want to thank you so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for that. Please click the like and hit subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate you no matter where you are taking the time to follow this podcast from, whether it's as a podcast or watching video. So that's all today. Thank you once again, and I'll be back with you again next week.